Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those who are new here, my name is Bongiso Sekhalwe. So today, as you see by the title of this video, today I'll be sharing with you some of the strategies that I use in class for me to have an effective and disciplined learners. You know, in the first year of my profession as a teacher, I used to struggle a lot with disciplining learners. I remember because then I was not yet married. Every day, I'll go back home and I used to cry because I didn't have effective strategies in place to help me to discipline learners. So I will always be frustrated. I do not want to lie. I was always frustrated. I used to cry when I arrived at home because those learners, I could not discipline them. But before I start sharing those strategies, so today I'm shooting in a different place. This is a place that God instructed me to do. So what's happening here is I'll be helping learners that are struggling with reading, learners that are struggling with math, and yeah, so I'll be helping them during the week. From afternoon when I come back from my work, I'll be coming here and helping those learners, and also on Saturday. But about this place is a story for another day. So now I'm going to be sharing with you my strategies, and I hope that they are actually going to help you so that you can implement if you haven't implemented them. So I wrote them here. I remember I wrote them actually today while I was free, and you know what, I said let me shoot this video. So I really hope and pray that these strategies, if you are not using some, you may start using some. My first strategy is that I depend on God. Yes. In this profession, if you are not going to depend on God, on the higher power, you are not going to survive. And how do I do this? You know, whenever I go to a class and I find this learner, maybe, or certain learners that are giving me challenges, before I start shouting at them, before I do anything, I present them to God. I come back home and I tell God, God, I have a challenge with learners in this class. They are doing 1, 2, 3, 4. Lord, I even opened this Bible verse, Jeremiah 1 verse 5. It reads, I wrote it here. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. So I tell God, God, before I even knew these learners, before I tapped into their class, you knew them before they were even formed in their mother's womb. So God, please show me how do I deal with them, because you know them better than I know them. So that is my first strategy, is depending on God with everything, depending on, even before I step inside the class, even when I enter in the morning, I say, God, enter with me in this place. I say, God, thank you for this opportunity for me to come and teach this learner. And I seek the wisdom of God and ask God, God, how do I deal with this person? I consult with God, and I consult with my God and say, God, how do I deal with this learner? This learner is giving me so much trouble. And you know, it's not only those learners that are ill-disciplined, and also learners that are struggling to read, learners that are struggling, to participate in class. I ask God, God, how do I deal with these learners? This learner is struggling to write. This learner is struggling to read. God, can you please show me, I seek, God, give me patience to deal with this learner. So this is my first strategy. I do not do this teaching profession with my strength. And the second strategy that I do is I become vulnerable with them. And how do I do this? I'm going to make an example. So I'm teaching, I've been given new learners this term. I'm teaching grade 7, and you know how grade 7s are. Already they're in senior phase. They know better. So today when I came, it was for the first time that I met these grade 7 learners. And as I was teaching, I will stutter and I will make mistakes while I was speaking. I was teaching them, and they started laughing because they are not familiar with me. I had to stop teaching and actually be vulnerable with them and show them that, learners, I am here trying to teach you, but you are making fun of me because of the mistakes that I do while I'm teaching you. No one is perfect in life. I've accepted myself as I am. But how am I going to produce the best in you if you keep on laughing at me because I have my imperfections? Don't you have your own imperfections? And the class was silent. And I became vulnerable and I said to them, yes, this is how I am. And you are also not perfect. But I'll never make fun of you. Why are you making fun of me? And I'm telling you, from that minute on, I was able to work effectively with the learners. So be vulnerable with your learners. Speak to them. Tell them how you feel as their teacher. If maybe they are misbehaving, speak to them as a group. Tell them how you feel, how this makes you feel, how you are when you go home, how you are when you leave the class. With that, I do believe that you're going to touch some that I believe that there are learners that you are going to touch and they are going to change their behavior because you as a teacher became vulnerable with them. They should know that at the end of the day, you are a human being and you are not a robot. You are also not perfect as they are not perfect. Okay, my other strategy is, I remember we had a visitor in my previous school and I'll never forget this man. This man said we should speak to their souls and not their flesh. And you know, I don't want to lie, I took that and I ran with it. What does it mean to speak to their flesh? It's very easy. When you come to class and you find learners making noise and shouting, and you start saying, hey, and you start shouting back at them, hey, you are making noise, hey, you think you are better. This is what I used to do before. Or maybe when the learners are not listening, I did my grade 7. I did my grade 7 long time ago. Even if you listen to me or you don't listen to me, I'm still going to get paid month end. Those are some things that I used to say to them. And in a way, I used to make them feel like I'm better than you. My kids are going in a better school. And I was not talking to their spirit, and I was just talking to their flesh. And I must admit, I used to also, I used to do that because I was frustrated. And I saw other teachers using the strategy, and I thought it was going to work for me. But it didn't work. And the only disadvantage about that, I used to hit them. Yes, I confess I've changed. I'm sorry, but I used to do that, and I will use like so much strength that I'm the one who will get hurt. I was the one who was hurt together with them. So the strategy never helped. So speaking to their flesh is not going to benefit anything. You need to speak to their soul. But then you can ask, what does it mean how do I speak to their soul? When you speak to their soul, first time you meet them, you tell them why they are here. You remind them of where they come from. Our learners are easily distracted because they are among their friends, right? But on the first day, when you sit them down and remind each and everyone, of course, generalizing, as a teacher that these are what they might be going through. You tell them that at home, maybe you slept without eating food. Maybe at home, this and this is happening. At home, your mother is not educated. At home, this is happening. Even today, maybe you cannot read, because those learners that are giving most problems are the ones that are struggling with writing, are the ones that cannot read. So they easily distract the class or even distract the learners. But when you sit down with them and ask them, do you want to be like your mother? Do you want to be like your sister, your older brother who is taking drugs? Do you want to be like this? Then a learner gets to reflect that I do not want to be like that. You remind them why they are here. You know, grade learners in primary school is easy for them to forget, because they still have a long way to go. But if you sit down with them and remind them why they are here, I'm telling you, you have planted a seed from them. And whenever they see you, they will always remember that, oh, I am here to study. This is what I do. I tell them first day, remember why you are here. Yes, you have a long way to go, but these are steps that you need to take. You cannot jump grade 7 and go to grade 8. You need to take this step so that you can go to grade 8. And this information that you are going to grab in grade 8, in grade 7, it's very important for you to go to grade 8. So I speak to their soul. I touch them first day. Okay, there will be others that but I remind them time and again during the week. I remind them before I start teaching, remember, why are we here? I'm telling you, you're not going to have a challenge with them. You are not going to have a challenge, most of them, let me say so. So this is the strategy that I use. Speak to their soul. These kids, they are longing for love. These kids are longing to belong somewhere. If you as a teacher, you create that safe space, a space where they can speak to you, a safe space where they know that this teacher knows where I'm heading. Most of them, they want to change their lives. They want to change the future. They do not want to be their parents. You can easily ask one learner, do you want to be like your dad? They will always say no. So once you hold that sensitive part in them, you're not going to fail as a teacher. Your work they will do. So this is one of the strategies that I use. I speak to their soul and not their flesh. The strategy that I use, I come to class prepared. I know when I go to grade 6 or grade 7s, I need to have made enough copies for them. I need to have a preparation book. I have a preparation book with me. What is a preparation book? Whatever is in their book, you'll find it in my book. I even show them because I prepare for a week. So I show them. Like an example, this is my preparation book for grade 6. I don't know if it's clear. So, this one is for grade 7. So already I show them this is the work that we are going to do the whole week. So I even tell them that, you know what, can you see I prepared so that you can be a better learner. So also do your work. So if they see learners that Mem Sekhalwe comes to class prepared, they're also going to they will also be serious when they are in class. So you make sure that you have enough copies. If you have a teaching aid that you need to bring along, you come with that teaching aid. You come prepared. You are not going to come and drop maybe the book or your preparation book and I'm coming back, then you go and fetch your teaching aid, and then you come, then you start teaching, then okay, I need to go now fetch papers, or the papers are short, then you need to go again. In that moment when you are off, they are going to start speaking to each other. But when you come prepared, you ensure that okay, I know incidents happen. Sometimes the admin, they didn't make enough copies. It does happen. But you need to prepare in time. You need to prepare yourself. Come to class prepared. They must know that when Mem Sekhalwe comes, we start working. It's not a time for me to play. It's not a time for me to entertain my friend. I need to focus. Put that stamp first day when you come. Without shouting, tell them you are here to change your life and we have to work. When you come, pack everything. Now it's time for us to learn. I only want to see 1, 2, 3 on top of the table. I'm telling you, as soon as you start doing that and you are consistent, they will know that you are here and you are here to change their lives. So this is one of my strategies that I use. On the next one, change your teaching style. That's one of my strategy. Okay, so this time in grade 6, our first topic is solids, liquid, and gases. So we are learning about arrangements of particles, how particles are arranged. So what I do, I don't just give them information in their book and that is done. They need to know how the particles are arranged. So an example, on solid, the particles are closely packed in a regular pattern. Instead of me just teaching them that, you know what I do? I stand up. The particles are closely packed, but not in a regular pattern. The space between the particles are very small. So I change my teaching style. I don't just stand and just give information. And then what do they do next? They need to remember how the particles are arranged. And they do what they do, action. And even that child who's struggling, to my surprise, okay, they might struggle to write because some are struggling. But I was so touched to find a learner in grade 6 who's struggling, but they are able to come in front of the class and demonstrate to the learners how the particles are arranged in solid, liquid, and gases. And I know when I do that, that I've done my part as a teacher, giving the opportunity to the learner who could not even stand in front of the class, but is able to stand and demonstrate. For me, I know I've done my part as a teacher. So change your teaching style. Today, yes, they're demonstrating. Tomorrow, bring a teaching aid. Let's not only use the chalkboard and the chalk always. The other day, overhead projector to and a laptop. Let learners see. Okay, I know some of the public schools they do not have, but you might have a laptop. Make use of that laptop. You have a phone, make use of that phone. Bring a speaker, connect, let learners listen. Surprise your learners. Do not use one teaching style. Let's go to the next one. Move around the class. If you are healthy and very young, and if you're healthy and very young and very energetic, and while God is still giving you health, stand up. I know you are not going to stand for the entire 1 hour, 30 minutes, but move around the class. Move when the learners are still writing work. Maybe you can sit for 5 minutes, but stand up again and move around. When you are moving around, you will eliminate learners talking to each other and not doing their work. You know, learners are so clever, if I may say so. They know which teacher will come and teach sitting down and say, do your work, and they take their phone and they start pressing and doing whatever, and they are on their phone. Learners, they know. But if you move around the class, okay, you explain the concept to them. Maybe it's mental maths. Okay, maybe you're teaching maths and first thing they have to do is mental maths, right? You give them, I'm giving you 10 minutes. Take your phone, set the time, then you start moving around. When you're done, raise up your hand. Instead of you sitting down in that 10 minutes, you move around. When you're done, raise up your hand. I'll come and mark. Then you go around, you mark. When you're done with the first one, let me mark. Then you are giving learners that thing. Oh, I want my teacher to sign my book. They always get excited when you have to sign their books. So you move around, you sign. Then, okay, let's do corrections. Then they do corrections. You're moving around while they're still doing corrections, or maybe you sit for 2 minutes, but quickly you stand up. Be involved with your learners, and you also get to see that learner who's struggling with maths. You quickly get to see this learner who's struggling to write, the learner who's struggling with place value, this learner who's struggling. It's going to be easier for you to identify the learners very early. So move around the class. Don't sit down. I know it's not going to be always. The way I stand in class when I'm not feeling well, I'm able to tell my learners that, learners, Today I'm not feeling well. Can I please? I even ask them, can I please sit down? But as I'm sitting down, please do your work. I'm telling you, because they got used to the fact that when you are in class, they work. You're not going to have a problem with that. Yes, you're not feeling well. When you're done with the first 5 sums, come, let me sign your book. The learners are going to enjoy. The learners are going to enjoy the environment. So let's move around the class. Let's not sit down. And I'm telling you, you're not going to regret. Let's go to the next one. This one really works a lot, where it make time for your learners. Make time for your learners. Like today, this other learner came to me today and said, "Ma'am, when are you going to teach me again on how to read?" So last time when I came around March, because we were not busy after writing a test, so I will take them one by one and I will teach them how to read. And I don't teach them English, I only teach them natural sciences. But because I had time, I was teaching them. This learner came to me today and said, "Ma'am, when are you going to teach me again how to read?" And I was so touched. I was like, okay, because there are adjustments now in our break time. Our break time now, we are no longer going to have a short break, we are going to have a long break. You can eat, then play, do whatever that you need to. When it's 15 minutes before you can come, you can sit and I can teach you. And he was so happy that I'm making an effort. So let's make time with our kids. I know we have friends at school, some of our colleagues are our friends, but if maybe once a week or twice a week you tell yourself that during lunch, when you're done eating, you're just going to call one learner and just sit down with them. And you don't even have to call them. Sometimes just move around where they're playing. You'll find that one who's just sitting alone, and you go to him or her and find out, why are you sitting alone? And have a conversation. And that's the only time also you even get an opportunity to speak to that one who gives you challenge in class. You call him, "Can you please call this person for me?" And that learner will come, and you sit down with that learner and tell that learner, "You know what? I do not want to lie, but you are giving me a challenge in class. When you do 1, 2, 3, I do not appreciate it. Is it possible for you to change?" Ma'am, it's my friends. Are you here for your friends? Remind that learner. Speak to that learner without his or her friends. I'm telling you, the next time you go into their class, you will see a change. So let's make time for our kids. Let's make time for our kids. Let's speak to them. Let's have that relation. No, not you laughing at them with them. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you have that moment, that's one-on-one session with them, I'm telling you, you'll start seeing a difference with their behavior. And then on the next one, engage with their parents. It also works. I know in public school, that's one of the challenges that we face, that parents do not, whenever you call a parent, they don't come, most of them. I do not want to lie. Even if when they're collecting reports, they do not come. But as a teacher, try to engage with the parent. Write out a letter, ask the parent, ask the learner to ask the learner to that ask a request from a learner that they need to bring their parent. Ask a learner and write formally and ask their parent to come to school, and sit down with the parent and actually find out how is the child. Do not wait for the child to do something extreme, or really you see that this learner is having a challenge in class. So sit down with them and sit down with the parent and find out how was the child behaving in the previous grade. Has the parent been called before because of their behavior? If yes, find out how has the parent helped or assisted the child in making sure that the learner behaves. And if not, if maybe the parent will say, I've tried, you know what, and then sit down with the parent and say, okay, let's come up with strategies, me and you, to help the learner. What do you think we should do? You know, because that's what they always say. You know, I don't know what to do, and then come up with your own strategy as a parent. Can you do 1, 2, 3, 4 with your learner? I mean, with a child at school, and then I will do 1, 2, 3, and then after, what you can do, and tell the learner and tell the parent that let's do these three strategies for the next 4 weeks. Then after 4 weeks, I'm going to call you again and see if there's no progress. And it's also important to teach teachers that you have a proof. If the parent didn't come, then you have done your part. You have tried. Even if you have to call the parent and ask and request the parent to come, then try that resort. Let's engage with the parent. I've seen this working for me in my class, that whenever I call a parent, then the next day the learner starts behaving, the learner starts interacting because of what I spoke to the parent. Okay. Okay. One other thing that also works for me, that is a strategy for me, is having an observation book. An observation book for me is a book where I write anything and everything that is happening in class. It can be small, it can be big. That's where I write anything that I observe with the learner. These books helps me, especially when I have to consult with the parent. I'll open the observation book and I'll show the parent that, okay, this on this date happened, this on this, because I don't think you remember everything that had happened, but if you write everything down, it's going to help you even when you speak to the learner and say, come, I have this observation book and this is what I've observed with you. On this date you did this, on this date you did this, on this date you did this. Are you happy with that? And you also, when you speak to the parent, your child has been doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not calling you because of one incident, but these things have been happening. That's why I have called you. So in observation books, it has really helped me, and not only with learners that are having behavioral problems, but also academically. During curriculum, if I identify, okay, this learner is struggling with this, I write it down. I write the date and I write it down. I go to 6A, I write it down. Everything that you see happening, it can be so small, write it down. As long as something that is different that you've noticed about it, write it down. And I'm telling you, it's going to help you. Okay, one of the strategy that I believe it can help, it's involving the school management team. Sit down with them, sit down with your HOD, sit down with your deputy or a principal and say, you know what, I'm struggling with 1, 2, 3. How can you help me as my manager? What are some of the strategies that you think I should start implementing with this child? This child is behaving this way. I know maybe some of the HODs, they are also struggling. But if you find someone who's higher than you, or even your colleague, that you see that, you know what, in this class they are always quiet, they are always doing the work, they are always disciplined, you go to that teacher and ask, how can I deal with this learner? Or even go to their previous teacher and ask, how did you deal with this learner? So that is one of my strategies. Those are all the strategies that I use in my class. I would love to hear some of the strategies that you use, teachers, that I can also start implementing. One of my previous principal once said this. He said that in a retail shop, there's a manager. This manager deals with everything that is happening in that store. When a customer comes complaining, who has to ensure that there is a solution is the manager. So you, as an educator, in each and every class that you go to, you are also a manager of that class. You need to come up with strategies that are going to help learners to perform in the best of their ability. So sit down, strategize, make a way, make a way. I know teaching is not easy, but it is possible. So sit down, strategize, do all, some, if they're going to work for you, do them. Sit down. How can I do this? How can I do that? And if you really do some of these strategies, I do believe that they are going to work for you as well. I'm not sitting here saying I know everything, but these are the strategies that I'm using in my class, and I do not want to lie. I don't have challenges with ill-disciplined learners in my class. I do not have. Do they test me? Yes, they do test me. But you know what? I'm not here to babysit their feelings. I'm here to teach them. That's the approach I use. That's the approach that I use. And I always tell them that I'm strict, unfortunately.